And welcome back to another completely ridiculous speedrun, where this time I will be beating the game with only diamond items. Now you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Well, what it means is simple. I can only use items that have diamonds in their crafting recipe. So that means I cannot craft anything like logs and or planks, and I cannot use anything that doesn't have a diamond in it. Now, put simply, this means I am completely limited to some diamond gear and virtually can't craft anything. So this challenge is extremely difficult, and I would appreciate if you maybe left a like or even subscribed for the video. Anyways, with all that out of the way, it's time to start the run. Immediately after booting up the world, I made a beeline straight for the nearest blacksmith, which conveniently had 3 diamonds planted inside of it. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, oh my god, you put those diamonds in there, you cheated. Actually, no. I did put the diamonds in there, but this kind of stuff is always in these runs, and that's simply because it is very hard to find a seed that has everything I need in it, and therefore I did have to plant some diamonds in there, but don't worry, it was the kind of diamonds you always find in blacksmith houses, and I made sure there were 2 blacksmith houses so I had more chances of getting, well, more diamonds. I then continued to ransack the village for anything I could find, because I can use items that I've collected and looted, but I can't actually craft anything. So I kind of just got a load of useless stuff, and, well, I mean, at some point I probably will find a use for all those things, but as for now, I'm kind of just hoarding onto every crumb of a thing I can. Sadly, in the village, I could not find the one thing I really did need, which was a crafting table. This sets me back quite a bit considering that was practically the only thing I really needed out of the village, and as not to cheat myself one in, I now have to go looking for another village to find one. After quickly beginning my search for a village, I did find a couple of things including a ruined portal, which had possibly the single best thing I could have wanted, which was an undamaged flint and steel. This sounds pretty bad, but basically this allows me to actually cook my food and not have to rely completely on raw meat during this entire run, so that definitely was a nice find. Moving on from that, I did find a couple other things, including another ruined portal with yet another flint and steel, and I also did find a couple biomes, mainly a taiga, which I spent most of my time just running through. The first night then ended, well, the first night then began, and unfortunately I was nowhere near prepared to go into the caves, so I gave in and just slept. Moving on from after that, I did find yet another ruined portal. This time it had the single best pair of boots I've ever seen in one of these runs, and so naturally I put them on. Moving on with my shiny new boots, I then found a village. Hooray! After all that searching, I finally did find one, but unfortunately it did not have a crafting table. So I did the next logical thing and crafted one, immediately failing this run. Before getting too upset with me, please take into consideration that I will be continuing the run as if I hadn't done that, because in the end of the day that is very RNG based. You see, there is a random chance that one of the staircases inside of the village houses that act like chairs would spawn in as a crafting table instead, and I simply just didn't get that, and I'm not sure why after 2 villages I didn't find one, so I kind of just gave up. I don't want to spend this entire video looking for villages, so I crafted one. Yes, you could say I failed this run because I did, but I'm okay with that, and I still will be continuing as if I didn't. Moving on from that, I of course already knew the location of the stronghold, and seeing as I can't craft anything, there really is no point in going into the nether and getting Eyes of Ender, so I just ignored all of that and went straight for the stronghold, which already had 12 of Eyes of Ender inside of it. As you can expect, the dragon fight was a mess. To open up, I decided to use my bed bombs, which was a good idea, until I started standing too close to them, which was a bad idea, and I managed to get myself in a very, very vulnerable position, which resulted in a group of Endermen just destroying me. There was another death, this time off camera, where I simply stepped onto the bed and blew myself up. Yeah. As mentioned previously, Dragonfight was a bit of a mess. Luckily, I somehow managed to whittle it down. Not a lot of people know this, but especially on easier difficulties, you can kill the dragon without destroying its crystals, which obviously made it a lot easier on my part to kill the dragon. nothing really interesting happened until the end, where, because this is me and apparently I don't learn, I decided I wanted to finish the dragon off with my last bed, and in doing so, I killed myself as well as the dragon, which, well, it sucked, but in the end of the day, I completed the speed run, and that's all that matters. Now, as far as the speedrun goes, I did have some troubles with it, but really this whole diamond only challenge was pretty much just an over glorified loot only challenge, which I mean, if you know anything about those, then they're more of an inconvenience than a challenge. But anyways, that's a challenge for another day. As for this one, I would say it was actually pretty easy. I went through it with minimal effort, especially because of the fact that Minecraft is already such a small game as far as story, like not storyline, but campaign-wise, like I guess you could say, that once you cut out half of it, you're left with a very minuscule amount of work to do. So naturally, this was a very quick and short run. Now, if I were to say anything as far as difficulties, I would definitely say that the dragon fight was made a lot harder by the fact that I was really limited on gear. But in the end of the day, this is a Minecraft boss fight, so again, not that hard. Regardless, that's the end of this challenge. I hope you guys did enjoy, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.